Right. Today we're going to talk about 文法 grammar. あげる、くれる、もらう。あげる、くれる、もらう。These confusing 3 words. We start with あげる and then くれる and then もらう. Well, let's have a look at these 3. あげる, I have written here give, くれる also give, もらう receive. Well, let's say 私 like I, and then on the other side friend 友達あげる between 友達 and 私あげる is to give, for example, like you give away from your side to the other side. The thing or service or whatever moves from your side to the other side. あげる to give, this arrow. I give you, for example. And then くれる, that's also give, but I color this 私 I give you because that's the subject. That's more focus. 友達くれる私 in the middle. I colored 友達 yellow as its subject, as the main person who does the action, who gives something. So くれる that somebody gives you. So something comes closer to you, to your side from the other side. So that's くれる. So there's a difference. These two mean to give, but one way to say from your side to the other side. But another give, くれる, that's from the other side to your side, which means you give me. Or in other words, I am given. If you think of you put yourself in center. And I'm given, that can be also possible to translate. And the third one, もらう, to receive. Just literally, so the subject, the main person is 私. So I receive from 友達, friend, from the other side. So the thing comes toward you, closer to you, just like くれる. But the subject, the main person is I, 私, the yellowed one. So I receive, so from the other side to my side. So when you think of chocolate, so where are the chocolate when these actions happened? So あげる, so from this side to that side. So 友達 has a chocolate. But to give and to receive the other ones, くれる, もらう, the chocolate is on your side because it got closer to you. The friend 友達 gives to you. I'm given the chocolate and I receive the chocolate. So the position is the same. But when you think about meaning, あげる, くれる are the same. When you think about the position, the final position of the thing as a service, that's the receiver. くれる, もらう. Hope you get it. Well, when you think about particles, what kind of particles do we need? あげる. So this, the first one, I give the chocolate to my friend. 私, I. In this context, you can use both は or が. は and が, depending on the nuance or the context or the situation. 私は or 私が. And to whom? 友達に. に particle. And then object, that's the same all the way. チョコを、チョコを、チョコを. So 私は友達にチョコをあげました. I, to my friend, chocolate, gave. I gave the chocolate to my friend. So 私は or 私が友達にチョコをあげました. So the chocolate is gone away. And then くれる. kureru. So the chocolate came to you. Pew. Chocolate came to you. Tomodachi wa, again, as a subject. Watashi ni, to me, choko wo kuremashita. So the particles are the same. Wa or ga, and ni, and wo. But the subject, who gives, that's the difference. So the first one, watashi, gives the friend. The second one, tomodachi, gives to me. Desu ne. So that's the difference. So the chocolate came to you, but the subject, tomodachi, and then that calls for wa or ga. And the rest are the same. The third one, morau, to receive. The main person is watashi here. So again, the subject, watashi wa or ga. And then to whom? You can hear also use kara, tomodachi ni or tomodachi kara choko wo moraimashita. Just like in English, like I've got a chocolate from my friend. Or when the other two are like by my friend, or like if you transform the sentence into the passive, and then it will be like by. But in the I receive, in the morau context, you can use kara as well. Tomodachi ni or tomodachi kara. And again, the chocolate came to you. So the chocolate is around you or in your hand. Tomodachi ni, watashi wa tomodachi ni choko wo moraimashita. So these are the differences. Let's think about third party. So not including yourself. For example, okasan, mother, otosan, father. Let's say okasan is the giver. She gives the chocolate to the father, the receiver. So the chocolate, choco. How do we say this? First, okasan wa, the subject, the giver. Otosan ni, to the father, the receiver. Choko wo agemashita. Okasan wa otosan ni choko wo agemashita. How about okasan wa, again, the same, because the fact is from the giver to the receiver. So okasan wa, the subject, otosan ni choko wo kuremashita. That could also make sense. Okasan, the giver, gave the chocolate to the receiver, to the father, using kureru, meaning to give, right? How about this? Morau, using morau. Again, so morau is to receive. So the subject should be the receiver. Otosan. You start with otosan. Otosan wa okasan ni choko wo moraimashita. These three, in general, the first one is the correct one. So other two are not necessarily correct. Well, when you talk about as the third party, when you're not included, or when you're maybe just talking about the story in general, what happened when you're not there, the most neutral, the most normal way to say is to use ageru, just in general. So, you know, whatever it just happening a bit away from you. So the other two can be sometimes weird, but in this case, when the speaker, for example here, watashi, I, when the speaker is close to the receiver, as in the relationship, or when you can associate the feeling toward the receiver, and then it's very natural to use the rest of the two. For example, like okasan wa otosan ni choko wo kuremashita. When you talk about the very neutral fact, it could sound a bit weird. But for example, when you're talking about your father's story, like you put your father in the center in the whole story, It's very natural actually. So お母さんはお父さんにチョコをくれました。And then お母さん sounds a bit further than お父さん for 私 for the speaker. So the relationship between お母さん and お母さん and 私、and the relationship between お父さん and 私。Or when you're just talking about a fairy tale or something, and then お父さん's vision or お父さん is sort of the main character, and then this makes sense. But again, the first sentence using あげる、あげました。That's the most normal one or usual one, neutral one. So how about the third one? お父さんはお母さんにチョコをもらいました。Again, so just the topic or the main subject is switched. And the receiver is the subject. お父さんはお母さんにチョコをもらいました。Again, so when you are feeling a bit closer to the father, or to the receiver, you can use this expression. Otherwise, for example, when you talk about what happened to your parents in Valentine's Day, talking about the story to your friend, you're telling them that your mother gave the chocolate to your father. And then you will pick the first one. お母さんはお父さんにチョコをあげました。Very naturally. But when you feel a bit closer to the father, to the receiver, you might want to say either of the rest of the two. So that's the difference. How about this situation? 天皇. What is this? 天皇. That's the emperor. As the giver. 女王. As the receiver. 女王. What's this? That's the queen. For example, like not many people have seen them. Not many people are friends with them. So let's have a look at this situation. 天皇, the emperor, gave the flower to the queen. For example, maybe sakura or cherry blossom trees. Maybe it happened or it might have happened. In Japanese, 日本語で天皇は女王に花をあげました。As mentioned here, it's the most general and neutral way when you are the third party. Well, to be more strict, there are other terms to say to give when you talk about very high status people. But here, let's stick to あげる、くれる、もらう. Well, what happened to the rest of the two? So if you say 天皇は女王に花をくれました。女王は天皇に花をもらいました。It makes the whole sentences sound like that you are a very good friend of the queen. I'm not sure that's true, but if you are, no problem. But normally, we're not. So in this way as well, the most neutral way or the general way to say that's あげる. So you just stick to あげる when you talk about the other people's giving and receiving situation. Right. How about who gave you the present? Who gave you the present? How do we say this in Japanese? Who gave you? Well, you have to be careful here that even though we are using give, as in past tense gave, but you are the receiver, because who gave you the present? So you have the present. The present is in you, around you, in your hand. So, how do we say this? 誰にあげましたか? Or, as we have just learned last time, if you use んですか, that will give you more natural nuance, natural ways of speaking. You sound more pera pera. And that gives you the impression, gives the impression to the listener that you are very eager to know the answer. So I just wrote two ways, as in あげました, as in very textbook Japanese, the basic Japanese. 誰にあげたんですか? As in the very natural conversational expression. 誰にあげたんですか? そのプレゼント誰にあげたんですか? using あげる。How about くれる、そのプレゼント、誰がくれましたか ?or くれたんですかそのプレゼント誰がくれたんですか ?or using もらう。そのプレゼント誰にもらいましたか ?or そのプレゼント誰にもらったんですか ?Which one will be the best? Well, except the first one, you can use the last two. The first one, あげる. Remember the subject is the giver. And in the question, who gave you the present? This action was given by the giver. It's confusing, but who gave you the present? So you are the main person right now. So if you say 誰にあげましたか that would be the present will be gone away. I thought I made right. そのプレゼント誰にあげましたか That would be who did you give the present to? So this has become this meaning, which is wrong in this question. Who gave you the present? So it should be either そのプレゼント誰がくれましたか誰がくれましたか as the giver is the subject. 誰がくれましたか You can't use は here as it's 誰 question. So who question. Only が. And then そのプレゼント誰にもらいましたか Or you can say 誰から as well. 誰にもらいましたか誰にもらったんですか As the subject, as the main person is you, the receiver. 誰にもらいましたか So you can say either the last two, but not the first one. How about when you reply, my friend gave it to me. How would you say this? My friend gave it to me. 友達、私に。友達が私に Right. The first one, using あげる。友達があげました。Or, in this form, 友達があげたんです。The second one, 友達がくれました。Or, 友達がくれたんです。The third one, 友達にもらいました。Or, 友達にもらったんです。Well, again, my friend gave it to me. Again, the present is in your hand or around you or in your room. So the present, you have it. So if you say using あげる, that would be, the present will be gone somewhere else. That will be away from you. 友達があげました. That would mean my friend gave it to someone else or somewhere else. So either you have to say 友達がくれたんです or くれました or 友達にもらいましたもらったんです That's the same, just the subject is either you or the friend. Well, that's the basic ideas and the basic usage of あげる、くれる、もらう. So I hope you get the rules and the idea clear this time. Right, that's all for today. Thank you for watching. お疲れ様でした. If you want to practice Japanese with us and meet your new classmates, you're more than welcome to join us. おかえりスクール